Round of applause for
King Andile, mama,
and he captures the moment.
King Andile, mama,
And it is extraordinary.
The chairman, Dr. Irvin Khoza.
I want to congratulate you. I listened when you spoke about, the issue of the secular on the sleeve. You handled the manner in a responsible way, like a serious stakeholder of football.
I really do hope that the SABC, they'll have a lot more games to show people of South Africa this season.
You've got a very responsible CEO in SABC. She's proactive, she's hands-on, because the front foot forward with her attitude. I hope it's going to be rewarded for them.
Chairman of Dondol Stars, Ludwig Ben Makura. 200,000 in those leagues where you guys are. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. The whole team. This next game with Pirates, we'd rather take them to Polokwane.
If possible.
Pirates, go Polokwane.
Why
is it Toyando? President of CAF, Dr. Patrice Motsepe.
Andile, you guys do good work. Young people in South Africa, all over the continent, love Andile's program, and I'm proud of the work that Andile and all of you are doing. Sometimes when I'm in the plane, I listen to Andile on Metro. I feel proud, enormously proud.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Thank you so much, and see you at the next CAF competition. Merci beaucoup. Thank you.
Setšhaba Mofokeng, who is the father of Relebohile Mofokeng. Bona Setšhaba ba busy ka rile ba itse ro shapa shoto.
No, it's a neat.
O shapa shoto ba o botsise kwa maZulu. Abaxaburi, the father of Rile le yena na dlala disc.
Monati.
Ah, mara chabi ba o ka sfiti go ra ntwana no le shapo man. Dr. Motsepe, chairman of Mamelodi Sundowns.
Andile, just listening to your show, I was a little bit nervous when I heard the music from WWF. There was Kane's music playing before I was about to speak. And what was the inspiration behind the music, my friend?
I mean, largely it's in the camaraderie of what the WWF was. It's a show. We're putting up a show. It's the greatest show put on.
And I know that the listeners are going to be entertained for many, many 6 o'clock nights to come.
I appreciate you, Tlofi. Thank you very much, man.
Sky is the limit, and you know that you can have what you want, be what you want, have what you want, be what you want.
Sports Night Amplified with Andile on Metro FM. Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Game over.
It's 7 after the hour, 6 on the Mighty Metro FM. Thank you so much for the touchdown. They do it again tomorrow between 3 and 6. Listen, Timmy, I don't know if you were listening, because I know you're always sitting upstairs, but there was a serious poverty Olympics on the touchdown. What did somebody poverty Olympics? Or no, me, I was poorer than you growing up. Then you say, no, me, I was poorer. Me, I used to eat a brick, and I say, no. Me, I used to drink sand, you know? And I can't partake in the poverty Olympics. No, I can't. Intombi yasemabhaceni uNunu Nomsa uIsabella uMachemane worked very hard, Shem, to give us what we had. So can't really get into that. But it's always so nice to hear from where people began to where they'd gotten into. It's so inspirational. If you're sitting there and you're wondering about a future, that was a knock to say it's possible. You know, it's possible. And I enjoyed listening to people speak about how they grew up and where they are now. But listen, I'm a little sensitive about what we're going to be doing today, because today we're going to be speaking about the Comrades Marathon, a race that for me has lost its soul. It's kept its kilometers. It's kept its identity of being a race, and a long race, and a race that runs from Durban to Pietermaritzburg and vice versa. But it's lost its soul. We need to go back, because there are races, and then there's the Comrades Marathon. Because for more than a century, this has been about far more than just 89 kilometers, medals, cut-off times, and who crosses the finish line first. The Comrades was born from sacrifice. If you didn't know, it was Vic Clapham who conceived its idea and attributed it to the soldiers who had given their lives in war. And from that, the idea grew into something that became deeply woven in the fabric of who we are as South Africa. It survived wars, World War II. It survived political change. It survived the end of apartheid and changing of public holidays. It even survived the changing of routes and a global pandemic. And perhaps most importantly, it survived because South Africans have made it theirs. The runners who spend months training before dawn, the families that stand on the side of the road cheering strangers on, the volunteers handing out water, the communities along the route, and the first-timers chasing a dream. That's the Comrades Marathon. What about the veterans that we cheer on, who come year after year, and the person who works down the road in the office that you know so well on Monday, they'll be walking funny, but they can't wait for somebody to ask them, how was the race? The story of the Motsoeneng brothers, who looked so identical that they thought they could cheat the Comrades Marathon but were caught out. These are stories of love that come from this thing that we love so much. It's more than just a race. The millions of us watching at home, waking up at the crack of dawn to spend time with our families, and we stay all the way till the evenings to see who makes a cutoff line, the funniest moments of television. But it's an endurance thing. Its human spirit has risen when you think about the Comrades Marathon. But most of all, the Comrades Marathon is the people's race. And we are the people. Is it right that there are people that can lay claim to it belonging to them? Is it right that individuals could make decisions that would see something that has become a fabric of who we are not be that anymore? If you've missed the hurrah and the furor in and around the Comrades Marathon, today we break it down. We'll speak to the KZN board member, KZNA board member, and also CMA member, as well as the chairperson of the Comrades Marathon Association, Mark Leathers and Dr. Grant Matkovich. But also, we have in studio, of course, as per usual, we speak athletics, SABC Sports senior reporter, the best in the industry, Charles Baloyi, who's going to be joining us. What's happening at Comrades Marathon? What are the challenges? Where is the status of the race right now? And what does the future look like? Are we perhaps going to be looking at a future where the Comrades is no longer there, or has changed from what we know it to be? Let's get into it.
It's a short birthday, a major birthday.
Our birthday is in a league of its own with major birthday deals. Like Clover Bliss Double Cream Yogurt, 1 kg, just $39.99. And Bacomo Wheat Bix, 900 grams for a low $52.99. Valid until 6 September. Celebrate our Major League birthday. Only at ShopRite.
If I had to ask you if you've saved up enough for your retirement, does that make your heart rate go up? Or what if I had to ask you if your family will be looked after when you're gone? How's your heart rate doing now? Perhaps it's time to bring that heart rate down. Switch your investments and insurance to FNB and take full control of all your money matters 24/7. Help changes everything. TCs and earn rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited. First Rand Life Assurance Limited, a licensed life insurer. FNB Investor Services Pty Limited, an authorized financial services provider.
Sports Night Amplified with Andile on Metro FM.
South African Sports Awards 19. Akani Simbini was the big winner. Sports Star of the Year. Wanamani. Sports Star of the Year. AK. Hey, somebody's happy. Akani, listen, it seems every time we call you is to congratulate you for some or other thing.
I guess that's standard procedure now. Be thankful.
It wasn't an easy category though. There was 3 of you, right? Malcolm Marx,
Yes.
Kwavuma, and yourself.
Yeah, I was actually very surprised I even got nominated in that category. And then to even get the call from Timmy to say I won, I was even like, yo, I even told Timmy, like, Timmy, you're lying.
Oh, Timmy's breaking news now. Timmy's breaking news.
6 to 7 p.m. Sports Night Amplified with Andile on Metro FM. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
A very good evening to you and yours, and I hope you're driving home safely on the roads. Listen, tonight on Sports Night Amplified with Andile, we decided to follow up on a race known as the Ultimate Human Race, the Comrades Marathon, with the chairperson of the Comrades Marathon Association, Mark Leathers, is going to be joining us. We appreciate him for making the time for the chat. I think he's going to be live from Portugal, yeah? He's going to be live from Portugal, but before that, my co-host, whenever we do these things, Charles Baloyi, SABC senior reporter, is with us. Charles, what's going on with the Comrades Marathon? Why are we even talking about it? We should be preparing for it.
The biggest question that we should be all asking ourselves tonight is, who's fooling who? Who's who in the zoo? So we leave that to the expert who are the runners and the fans who are at home. Who's fooling who? It's turning into a chaos. A race that was once popular, known for its camaraderie, for friendship, for bringing countries together, for bringing economy to this country. A race that we all own and we are so proud of. But today it's slowly falling into pieces because of meaningless battles between KZN, KwaZulu-Natal Athletics, Comrades Marathon Association, and Athletics South Africa. It's a three-way battle. The minister promised to meet them today, but he was unable because of other commitments. He's fresh from the
portfolio committee.
Yes.
But from what you understand, what is the core of why we're speaking about it? I mean, I'm going to go to the two gentlemen just now, but what is the issue?
Money.
Aha.
CMA refuses to pay for its levies to a KZN. So they say they can't continue paying money, levies.
Okay. Well, let's get into it. Let's speak to Mark Leathers, the chairperson of the Comrades Marathon Association, live from Portugal. Mark, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Listen, so some great memories whenever one thinks of the Comrades. And funny enough, there's some great South Africans that have run the race, but the Russian sisters, Elena and Olesya, I think were their names. They always come to me in my mind. There was something about those years when they were running the Comrades Marathon that made the world seem so small.
100%. The Comrades Marathon has been something really, really special for many, many people for decades, 100 years. And that isn't changing. And a good sign of that is that entries opened today. And the allocations for green numbers, yellow numbers, and pretty much all the dedicated charity entries sold out within a couple of hours. So the passion and the drive for the race is very much still there, as is the soul of the event. And we'll get into it obviously shortly, but I have to respectfully disagree with your senior reporter with regards to the fact that the media is making this a lot more of a hype than what it actually is. And I'm sure that Grant will confirm that. Everyone's got an interest in seeing the race proceed and proceed on a positive note. And there's definite common ground in that regard.
Well, and I want to get into it, but firstly, I think, let's tick some boxes here. Congratulations on the increase in money. I think long overdue. I think, the money is slowly starting to match the status of the race here.
Yeah, we've worked very, very hard for that, and the Comrades Marathon is the premier ultra marathon, not just in South Africa, but globally. And the reward for runners needs to indicate that.
Well, congratulations on that, and to all the, to the professional runners out there. There is a chance to get so much more, and I really appreciate that. But let's get into this, Mark. You're the chairperson of the Comrades Marathon Association, the correct person to speak to as far as what is happening. And I want to leave it and bring it to you as broad as that. What should we know, and what is incorrect and correct? What is currently happening? I don't want to prompt you into anything, but I'd love to hear from your view as to what is the current status of what is happening.
Well, the current status is quite simple. The Comrades Marathon predated Athletics South Africa and KwaZulu-Natal Athletics. It is the oldest ultramarathon in the world. And all that's happened is there has been a change in the status of the CMA. CMA members in November last year decided to de-affiliate from KwaZulu-Natal Athletics. And this year now, due to a lack of affiliation and various administrative processes, Athletics South Africa has declined to sanction the race. Now, you're going to get different opinions if you talk to somebody from the Federation or from the Comrades Marathon as to what the benefits or requirements of sanctioning actually are. But essentially what that means is that the race is not reflected on Athletics South Africa's calendar. Is that going to impact on the safety of the race? Absolutely not, because the same requirements, the only safety requirements that have applied for many, many years, namely those under SABC, continue to apply and are being met, totally. Is it going to impact the validity of records and times for the race? No, because the Comrades Marathon hasn't ever been a standard world athletics distance. Those records have always been maintained by the Comrades Marathon Association, and that will continue. People are saying, will it impact the quality of dope testing for the race? No, it will not. Anti-doping is still being done by SAIDS, the South African Institute for Drug-Free Sport, as it always has been, so that is not changing. It's just a case of whether or not the race has now got the administrative blessing of the National Federation or not. That is what has changed. Where we've ended up and why we've ended up there, well, there's going to be, again, a range of opinions. The issues started, in fact, as far back as 1999-2000, where there was a similar circumstance arising, and the Minister of Sport, Dr. Nkonde Balfour, then intervened in the matter. But it essentially from that time has come down to whether or not the race owes any duty to the Federation and what duties the Federation owes to the race. More recently, as 2024, KwaZulu-Natal Athletics attempted to intervene in the rights of Comrades Marathon Association members to partake at their own meetings of the Comrades Marathon Association, and a whole bunch of members decided at that stage to approach the High Court in Pietermaritzburg as to whether or not KwaZulu-Natal Athletics had the right to interfere. And the last date in that matter for argument was the 22nd of July this year, and judgment is still pending there. So I'm not going to attempt to preempt a court judgment because I happen to be the attorney in that matter as well. But we're waiting to hear on what the situation is there. But that attempted interference by KwaZulu-Natal Athletics is regarded by the vast majority of Comrades Marathon Association members as overreach. And members have just sat down and said, what are we giving these federations versus what are we getting in return? And essentially that's it. So the official position of the Comrades Marathon Association is we have followed our members' direction. We are not affiliated to the federations. We will not be sanctioned on this year's race calendar, as I dealt with previously, but that when the federations figure out how to be an equal partner in a relationship instead of a one-sided relationship, then our door is open. When they figure out where they can add reciprocal value for what they want from the Comrades Marathon Association, we are waiting to talk to them because we want to be involved and we want to be an important stakeholder in the athletic space in South Africa.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Just a couple of questions based on what you've just said to us there. If you're just joining us, we are speaking to Mark Lathers all the way in Portugal, the chairperson of the Comrades Marathon Association. We figured, instead of reading everything and hearing everything that you're hearing on the socials and the news, etc., let's go to Mark here for the answers. Mark, you said a lot of things that wouldn't change, right? And you said the only thing that would change is the association, really, with the associations. Is that the only thing that would change? So as far as the race is concerned, everything else would run as per normal. There's nothing that they were bringing on that might incline the race to change even in the smallest part? So there will be no change. If I'm a runner and an athlete, there's nothing that is going to change on my end, correct?
The only thing is you do not have to be wearing you don't have to be in possession of an Athletics South Africa license in order to run the Comrades Marathon. A lot of people say, well, then why do I need a license at all? Well, quite simply because you're going to have to run a qualifying event at some stage, and almost all of those events are sanctioned events that require licenses. But no, from the entry side, we're asking for one less piece of information because we don't need your license number, but the actual race experience should be absolutely identical, with the exception of the fact that every year we strive on improving on the experience. But that would happen anyway, and that's got absolutely no change, as a result of what's going on at the moment.
So, Mark, does it mean that you'll come up with special numbers at the front because there are no licenses for next year?
Well, remember that Comrades, everyone that runs has got their own race number. So the numbers that you actually see have never been the license number, because Comrades, like Two Oceans, always got special dispensation to have just the official Comrades race numbers front and back. Now we don't need any dispensation for it because obviously we're in control of our own numbering, but everybody will retain their Comrades number that they've always ran in. Novices will get their new number, and it will look pretty much identical to what it always has.
And then you also say club colors. You don't have to be a member of a club, and then meaning you don't have to necessarily run under wearing a club color. So does it mean that I can wear anything on race day?
Yes, you will see entries open today, and in the rules going out, the entry rules and the race rules to be published shortly, to promote camaraderie and that sense of being, club colours are encouraged, but they are definitely not mandatory. We are following very much what one sees in the World Athletics rules, just that people need to be appropriately attired, no political statements, etc., because we don't want any controversy. The Comrades Marathon is exactly that. It's for comrades and an event of camaraderie and togetherness.
I want to go back to something else that you said. You said it needs to be an equal partnership and relationship. You've been giving and you're not getting. What is it that you've been giving? Because I think this is the point to which many are saying this is about money. Because you speak of giving, which obviously speaks then, I'm assuming, and you can correct me, of the payments and the monies that you hand over versus you don't feel they do enough in order to attract money. So therefore it becomes a money thing in that way. And that's how I think a lot of the reporting has gone. When you say giving versus getting, what exactly are you talking about?
Money does form a part of it, but it's definitely not the main reason behind it. And money is split along two lines, depending on that which has flowed to KwaZulu-Natal Athletics versus that which has gone to Athletics South Africa. From KwaZulu-Natal Athletics side, the money, as mentioned, is not the biggest or hasn't been the biggest frustration. The claim, for an example, is for this year, 2026, was a large amount of money, was 3.1 million rand. And CMA members sit down and they think, millions of rands flowing to KwaZulu-Natal Athletics, but yet KwaZulu-Natal Athletics has over the last 2 years spent well over R1 million of essentially money flowing from the CMA to fight CMA's own members in court. It just seems totally iniquitous that members and the Comrades Marathon are funding the very litigation against them designed to interfere with their members' rights. That has been the perception. In addition to that, the other frustrations have been things like this year, shortly before the race, the acting president of Athletics South Africa and the now suspended president of KwaZulu-Natal Athletics essentially threatened to try and have the race cancelled. Why? Because their egos felt slighted and they hadn't been given VVIP invitations and involved in the prize giving. Whereas the focus of the CMA is that politicians and administrators are not the dignitaries. The athletes are the heroes and need to be celebrated. So that is an example of something that isn't monetary related, but has been a significant frustration. With regards to Athletics South Africa, the money side is that when the race is on the Athletics South Africa calendar, the Comrades Marathon has not had ownership of its own broadcast rights. Now, as an aside, that is currently being actually fought about before the Competition Commission. But it's not so much the ownership of the broadcast rights that is the problem from a monetary aspect. It's the incredibly poor job of managing them that Athletics South Africa has done in the past. To give you an example, they concluded a new broadcast deal coincidentally with the SABC, actually quite late in April. And despite numerous requests, we only received the technical requirements for where the SABC wanted their multitude of large cameras the Monday before the Comrades Marathon, which is logistically impossible to deal with at that late stage. So, yes, money forms a part of it. The CMA members feel that the money can definitely be better spent and can definitely go measurably into athletics development and sports upliftment. But it is also the administrative and egotistical, I'm going to use the word, based on the demand for VVIP invites and prize-giving, attendances that have interfered and taken away from the soul of the race.
Who are these VVIPs and dignitaries that want the special treatment, who aren't athletes?
Well, it's been around for a while, and obviously the party's changed, but this particular year it was acting ASA President John Matane and the now suspended KwaZulu-Natal Athletics President Steve Mpasi, who has become quite famous for his brawl in the street earlier on this year. But, that has been the problem, is the CMA's focus is increasingly runner-centric and athlete-first. And unfortunately, the federations have had a different view. As we've seen, for an example, by John Matane just taking a trip on ASA dime to the Under-20 World Championships, but yet ASA claimed they didn't have the money to send the athletes themselves.
So what did they demand of you? What did they demand of you that was treatment that you thought unbecoming of people that should be enjoying the race and pouring into the race rather than extracting? What did they demand that was so VVIP that you just thought this is ridiculous?
Well, purely because of the fact that in past years they have been given roles like handing out winners' prizes. This year, we decided that the legendary party who has, run 49 Comrades Marathons, Mr. Barry Holland, would be better suited as an athlete to hand out winners' prizes. And that is what the furore the Saturday before the race was. It was why are we not involved in prize giving? You are not giving us the respect we deserve. And if you don't do this, we're going to contact the MEC and attempt to have your traffic approvals pulled.
Can I just jump in, just three quick questions here? The first one is, when last did you pay the levies to KZN, and exactly how much was it when you paid those levies? And also, you are in Portugal. So do you lead the CMA from Portugal? How often do you come to KZN, where the headquarters of the comrades are based? And the third one is, seeing that the race is not sanctioned, are you now going to engage with a broadcaster of your choice and handle all the rights and the terms and all that? Have you started that process? Can you tell us which broadcaster will air the race next year?
Okay, firstly, the last time levies were paid to KwaZulu-Natal Athletics was following the 2025 race. 2026 has not been paid at this stage. There has not been an absolute blanket denial. The CMA had gone to KwaZulu-Natal Athletics at the time and said, look, things have changed. We're not a member of you anymore, so therefore give us a legal basis to pay these levies. And as regards for 2026, the CMA remains open to dialogue in identifying measurable athletics development and sports upliftment projects so that there's accountability for where that money goes. So payment for 2026 definitely remains on the table if and when KwaZulu-Natal Athletics come to engage productively and with an open mind with the Comrades Marathon Association.
What are you willing to pay? Well, what is it? When you say come to engage, is it I'm not going to pay as much as I used to pay? I think, did you mention the amount? Did you say 3.1? What was it?
Yeah, I said 3.1.
I think you said 3.1.
I wanted the exact one which he paid last time before we delved into this.
So then what are you willing to pay now? What is the negotiation? Because Mark, you're saying we're not paying that amount anymore. We're not involved at that level anymore, but we're willing to sit down and negotiate. What is the base of the negotiation, financially and otherwise?
Well, the CMA's view is that it has a duty to be involved. It's a non-profit organization. It has CSI, responsibilities. It has a duty to give back to athletics. And, so essentially the negotiation is open-ended. The CMA may, and I'm talking out of turn here because no final decision on this has been reached because we've had no productive engagement from the other side. But the CMA may be willing to pay considerably more than 3.1 million rand. The part that the CMA will not negotiate on is that the money simply goes into an open-ended pot for use, again, for an example, for litigation against the Comrades Marathon Association members, or to fund, presidents going off to the under-20s world championships when the federation says they haven't got the money to send the athletes.
Let me not say you and individualize this, but do you feel a little bit like, as a chairperson, that CMA is a bit of a cash cow?
Look, unequivocally, the Comrades Marathon has for a long time been the largest single earner for KwaZulu-Natal athletics as far as what events goes. And on the broadcast deals, it is also the event that has garnered the biggest, portion of broadcast rights in the past. So CMA has been very much a cash cow, and the relationship has been very one-sided. For an example, even technical officials were not provided as part and parcel of all the other monies that were flowing. These were billed in excess of that. And, then some of them, for an example, wouldn't even arrive on the day on occasion. That has been a rare occurrence, that has happened, but it has happened on occasion before. And, that's where the CMA has turned around and said enough, the CMA members have turned around and said enough of this one-way street.
And those two questions, Mark, are you running the CMA with a remote control since you are based in Portugal? And the broadcast deal, have you started negotiating? Are you going to choose a broadcast partner at your own discretion for next year? Have you started those processes?
Okay, firstly, I'm just one small part of a massive machine. We have got a fantastic team in the office, number one, and we have got a very diverse board at the CMA, which is located pretty much around the country and around the world. So from that aspect, the board is not responsible for day-to-day running of the association. That vests in our general manager, our race director, and our office team. The board is there for strategic direction. And that's a wonderful thing. You mentioned earlier about the pandemic. That's a wonderful thing that the pandemic taught us, is that with technology these days, you can essentially be face-to-face no matter where you are in the world. So we meet on a very regular occasion. As an aside, not necessarily for the CMA, but for my own business, which I've retained in South Africa. I'm in the country literally every few weeks. But the board is scattered all around the country, and like I say, frequently people are overseas as well, and it functions absolutely perfectly.
So yes, you do run it coming from Portugal mostly, but I mean, you've explained why, but yes, the answer is you are coming from Portugal. And then the second part of that was the broadcast deal. Now that you guys are negotiating it directly, how far are you in that, and what is the requirement for what you're looking for? Because I can tell you now, if it's a choice between two, the SABC obviously,
and the pay channel,
and across the board in the pay channel, and the SABC has never been able to financially compete. As you know, we were a government institution. So what is it that you're looking for in a broadcast partner? Just love to know.
Well, firstly, it's early days. You know, the CMA and all our necessary partners are busy packaging this up in a bundle that is professional to a level never seen before, because we're wanting to elevate a number of things, not only the experience for people, but also accessibility. So how far we are in the process, that process is starting. At this stage, nothing has been concluded. It will be going out to the various stakeholders in the near future. A big focus for the CMA is accessibility not only to South Africans, in other words, free to air is a massive priority, but also taking the race, because the race is not just South African for South Africans, taking the race and exposing South Africa and KwaZulu-Natal province to the world as well.
Mark, listen, I appreciate it. And thank you so much for the conversation.
And before we let you go, Mark, so I feel here, it's the bone of contention is here for you, CMA, is how KZN spends the monies from the levies that you pay. This is what caused this whole issue from the start. This is the center of the ring. You are not happy with how they've been spending this money.
Not quite. That's part of it. It's all about accountability. So, you know, if every cent was accounted for the purpose for which it's intended, namely athletes, namely going into development, namely going to a recognizable good cause, then as long as those boxes were ticked, there would be absolutely no issue. But as mentioned, money is only one part of it. It's a case of we have both, you know, privately and publicly asked both KwaZulu-Natal Athletics and Athletics South Africa, guys, can you list 5 things for us that you bring to the table? 5 things we cannot get if we are not affiliated to you. Where do you add value? And what's telling is that the answer there has by and large been met with deafening silence. That is the biggest crux of the issue.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I hope that we have at least one more chat after this. You know, it's the people's race. This is the people's show, the biggest platform for all things sport in Southern Africa, and the people wanted to know. And I'm very happy that you were able to come on and face the tough questions, Mark. Thank you so much, and we'll speak soon.
Only a pleasure. Thank you.
Chairperson of the Comrades Marathon Association, Mark Leathers, from Portugal, where he is based, where many people have a problem with the fact that he is based there. He explains it, says, I'm the chairperson. I'm not involved in the day-to-day runnings. You know, some people would like the chairperson that is there, that is available, that is on the ground. And that's always going to be a bone of contention. But let's go to Dr. Grant Matkovich, who is the KZN Association, KZN Athletics rather, board member and also a CMA member. Now joins us. Is he on the line? Doc, thank you so much for joining us and appreciate your time. Dr. Grant Matkovich?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can now. Thank you so much for joining us and for the chat.
Perfect. Thank you very much for having me on. And yeah, I think Mark has said a lot there, which yeah, I do have quite a few issues with some of the stuff that has been mentioned and that he has said there. But you know, obviously we're on different sides. There is a lot that we do agree. Well, there are some things that we do agree on. It's definitely not all about money. I think the media is portraying this as a money issue. It definitely isn't only a money issue. Yes, race levies do form part of it from our side, but we wanting to see how the Comrades has decided to unsanction or de-affiliate from KZN Athletics and form an independent event that forms outside of an athletic structure, and we wanting to see how that athletic structure looks. And make sure that we safeguard our athletes. Obviously, we want to keep Comrades inside the athletic structure. It makes sense to have Comrades inside the athletic structure in helping to develop the sport and to give it framework. So there's a lot of stuff that Mark did say. I'm not too sure where to
This is an open platform. Like I did with him, I'd really like for you to cover all your posts before we ask you questions, and to lay your grass on the land as well. So go for it, whichever it is that you want to touch on, be it something he said or something that you had wanted to put forward. We're listening. Please feel free.
So I think to start back in the beginning, where Mark had said that there was that KZNA seems to have an attitude that it is meddling, or it was trying to meddle in CMA affairs or govern CMA affairs. That has got to do with the controversial domicilium rule, which is what was before court, which is what Mark was mentioning about, and we're waiting for the verdict on that. What I do want to just correct about what Mark said there is that CMA Comrade KZNA wasn't trying to meddle in those affairs at all. What had happened was, to talk about athletic structures, we as sports people, we know most athletics or sports structures have their provincial federations, and those provincial federations are responsible for the sport in that provincial jurisdiction. So KZN Athletics is responsible for all athletics in KwaZulu-Natal. So therefore, because Comrades is staged in KwaZulu-Natal, that the Comrades fall under KZN Athletics. And I'm a member of an athletics club and I live in Durban, so my club is in Durban. If I moved to Cape Town, I couldn't be a member of that club in KZN anymore that I'm a member of. I would have to join a club in Western Province. So what had happened was CMA had started to develop, or they had grown their membership to such an extent that it wasn't just members that happened in KZN. Those members then happened in external provincial, so there were members from other provinces, and then there were members that came internationally as well because of the international recognition and the international status of the Comrades. So what had happened was CMA board in 2024, I assume, wanted a direction from KZN Athletics to say we are now getting members that fall outside of KwaZulu-Natal. How do we organize those members, and what do we do with those members? And this is where the distinction comes in. KZN Athletics gave an opinion to CMA to say that in our constitution, the domicilium rule applies, and in our mother body constitution, which is Athletics South Africa, the domicilium rule applies as well. So if we were to apply the constitutions of our constitution and the rules of Athletics South Africa, the domicilium rule would apply. So we gave them an opinion. We didn't enforce that opinion on them, and we didn't say this is what you have to do. We said this is how we interpret it. It wasn't by any means a ruling. They then decided to make that they then decided to apply that opinion to their AGM, which then got their members' rights up because they wanted to vote. So we then got an interdict, and we got then taken to court for that. So this isn't a court procedure that we are following or that we initiated. We are defending a constitutional issue that we then had to a legal issue that challenged our constitution. So we decided to defend our constitution, which is where we've landed up to now. Yes, the process has gone through quite a few stages, and we carried on with that process. The other thing which I don't want to delve too much on the legal aspects of it, because there's other stuff that I'm sure is more appealing to runners. But the other thing that is happening with that is, subsequent to that, CMA has de-affiliated from KZN, so KZN Athletics. So we've still got this judgment happening or waiting, and they want to take it to some degree of finality. We are trying to cover our costs and reduce our legal costs by going, CMA has left. We don't need this ruling as to what they do with their members because they're no longer our members. So the ruling doesn't actually apply. So we don't want this to go to a finality so that we can try and save our costs so that we don't have to spend money on legal fees. But the opposition or the other part of the legal part, the CMA members, which Mark Leathers says he's representing, wants to see that to finality. So if that goes against us, we've then got legal fees against us. So we're in a bit of a weird position where Mark's, as he said on this call now, going, why are you spending so much on legal fees? But he's also forcing us to possibly spend a lot of money on legal fees. And we haven't spent the amount of money that he has said that he's mentioned. So we aren't at that level yet.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm with Charles, by the way, senior SABC sports reporter here. Just a couple of things. And I think the first one here that springs to mind, I'd love to hear your answer to this because Mark says you were mute on this. They look at you guys and they look at the money that you draw from them and the lack of respect that you give them when you use that money because you don't fully account for it. The question they've asked you, he says, is name 5 things that you bring to the table that they can't do for themselves.
So that is a complex question, and there is. First of all, we give the federation and the athletic structure that it happens in, that the comrades then happens in. So the first one would be your runners have to qualify. So you've got licensed runners, and they have to do qualifying races. Comrades is not offering those qualifying races. Those qualifying races are happening by clubs that are ASA or KZNA or another provincial or federation's organised races. So Comrades has kind of said, cool, we don't want to be part of the athletic structure. We want to be independent. But we need qualifying races, so we'll use your qualifying races. So there's that cherry picking aspect of, cool, we don't want to have anything to do with the athletic structure or the athletics federation, but we want that, or we want this bit of it. So that's unfair. That is a structure which we have developed, and we've developed it over time, and we are. The qualifying races are compliant with Athletics South Africa or their provincial associations in safeguarding, in insurance, and all of that. So it happens within our framework. The second bit is rules. So the rules that happen through World Athletics, ASA, and KZN Athletics. So Comrades has now had to develop their own rules, which, cool, are they leaning on World Athletics rules? But how can they lean on World Athletics rules if they fall outside of the system? Once again, they're turning into a whole trap of this is what they're doing. They're choosing what they want. The next aspect of it is technical. So yes, we supply technical officials, and our technical officials have come up for some degree of abuse, that they're not up to scratch. That could have been mentioned with us, and we could have had that conversation where we could have gone to our technical officials and seen where they were lacking and tried to develop that. But anyway, we supply technical officials. If they don't want to use our technical officials, what technical officials are they using? The technical officials that they're using then come from, invariably, if it's from another province, or if they're still retaining some that are in KZNA, they were trained by KZN Athletics. They were trained, if they come from other provinces, by by other provincial associations. If they mentioned that they might bring them in from overseas, it's then bringing them in from overseas, but that comes under World Athletics. And once again, that's forming the structure that they want nothing to be with, but they're cherry picking what comes with it. There's also the aspect of then sanctioning those technical officials that might work there. Do they have a mandate, and are those overseas federations prepared to give technical officials to who they give to? Then there is also the aspect of sanctioning athletes. So what happens now is if somebody cheats or if there's a doping. So Mark correctly said, SABC can happen independently. They can go to SABC and get the doping controls done. But what the problem now becomes is if somebody dopes or is found positive, what's the sanction? That sanction can only be applied
to the comrades.
To comrades.
Yeah.
So somebody can come in and dope, be found positive for doping, and the ban can only be on comrades. So Comrades has taken a very big stance saying they're anti-doping and anti-cheating. But yet, if somebody does come, there isn't any sanction that goes beyond Comrades. So there isn't any international sanction that happens where they can't happen in other KZN athletic events or ASA events or even World Athletic events. So there's a lot of infrastructure and there's a lot of complexity that does come that we do give. So to say that we give nothing is a huge understatement. Also, the other aspect that comes is international recognition. And this is a big point for us because KZN Athletics wants the Comrades to succeed. We want to see the Comrades be the iconic race that it is. We want to see those the international recognition happening. So the IAU status that the gold member status that Comrades has as an IAU gold member status comes because it is associated to World Athletics, and that association comes through KZN Athletics, it comes through World Athletics, it comes through KZN Athletics, it comes through ASA, and it comes through World Athletics.
Grant, sorry to jump in on that explanation. Since they did get that status, this is one of my questions from IU, and we've seen runners qualify for the 100-kilometer championship. So what's going to happen to that status? Because now they've disassociated themselves from KZN and the national. This is one of the questions. And also, Mark, they repeatedly called you crybabies. You are seeking VIP attention. You want to be in the front seat giving towels and all this stuff, while that should be reserved to legends and other important members. And also, you are trying to justify what has been repeatedly denying that you are spending the levies money in the right manner. Do you think that you deserve to get the money for the levies for this year? Mark,
I'm going to ask Dr. Grant that you just think about that question. Grant, I need to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll then get the answer from you. He did mean Grant Shem. He's looking at me in the eyes all dreamy as Charles here. Let's take a break. When we come back, Dr. Grant Makovich, who is the KZNA board member and also a CMA member, will conclude that question.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 Rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. Join today. SMS Metro to 47520. That's Metro to 47520. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
The Hollywood Bets exclusive Spina Zonke prize drops gives you the chance to win your share of 2.5 million rand in cash and prizes. Bet 2 rands or more on selected pragmatic play slots every Monday, Tuesday and Thursday from 12:30 to 10:30. Make every drop count to catch the perfect prize. Join the Spinning Spectacular now. T's and C's do apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bets supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line is 0800 006 008, or you can WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
We're giving you millions of reasons to celebrate with our selection of Lucky Millions Lotto draws. You could claim major jackpots when you pick numbers from thousands of daily draws. Choose numbers on UK 49s, Euro Millions and lots more from just R5 per line. Enjoy more chances and more ways to win all in one place. Grab your chance to celebrate extraordinary riches when you play Lucky Millions from Hollywood Bets. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Sports Night Amplified with Andile on Metro FM. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
It's 18:59 on the line. We still have Dr. Grant Matkovich, KZNA board member and also a CMA member as well. Terribly sorry, Grant. I mean, we Dr. Grant, we cut that needed to go pay some bills just before you could answer that question. And I can see the time's almost done for us, but I'd love for you to have a shot at that, because it's such a huge thing, isn't it, to say, I don't know where the money goes. There's VIPs that want to be VIPs that, put themselves even ahead of the athletes who want to honor the athletes. I think the exact word used was
crybabies.
Crybabies who want the attention and the money to be used on them rather. He went on, of course, to speak, did Mark, about the trips overseas, etc. What is your answer to that?
So sorry, when I get on a soapbox, I do kind of get on a bit of a soapbox, but just to go back to the previous points as to what KZNA gives and what offer it can be, the final point I would like to make as well is the big contentious issue that everyone's talking about as well, is the elite athletes. So is there going to be a sanctioning on elite athletes? Comrades' decision is now forcing us or the federations to now look and see how we deal with an unsanctioned event and whether we give colours. It's a horrible position that we're placing ourselves in, but it's a position that's been created by comrades. So it's creating uncertainty around their own athletes and around their own elite athletes about participation in the event. So it's that uncertainty which we don't like. We have asked the comrades to engage once they've deaffiliated, to go, cool, engage on these technical aspects. Let us understand what your 2027 race is, and let us see where we can offer value, because we can offer value. But what we can't do is we can't go, this is what we do or what we can offer, when we don't know what they're planning for 2027. So when they did the launch, and we were hoping that some technical aspects would come out so we could better understand where our role could be, and we have, and also with the launches and the opening of entries today, there's a little bit more understanding, but we still don't understand. So to ask us to go, what value can we bring, when we don't know what the 2027 situation looks like or what's going on? And I'm sorry, but I personally do feel that KZNA ASA does offer value, and we do offer that value to comrades, and we can enrich the comrades' experience.
If this race happens and it's a successful race, they would have proven that they don't need you, though, don't you think?
But there's a lot of uncertainty and there's a lot of doubt that doesn't need to be there. that if we work together, this genuinely doesn't need to be here. You and I and Mark don't need to be sitting here having these conversations.
They're not happy with how you spend their money, and they complain about your
Okay.
demands.
So that was the question. So that was the question. Let me move on to that now. So yes, 3.1 million rand is a hugely significant amount of money. There's no denying that. So to go back to the state, and I would like to make that distinction a little bit clear. KZNA is not ASA. Yes, we have our problems. Yes, we have stuff to sort out. But we are functional, and we are doing athlete development, and we are looking after our athletes. We are not sending our president overseas to under-20 games without paying for athletes. All our championships that we send teams to within South Africa, we pay for all of those athletes to go. So to cross country, to track and field, to road running championships, we pay for them to go. We pay for transport, we pay for accommodation, and we pay for food. So we're not talking about small amounts of teams here. We're talking about so it'll be about 300 to cross country, which is coming up sort of in the next week or two, and then there has been track and field events, which was Germiston and Stellenbosch. So we pay for all of our.
I'm terribly sorry. I've run out of time. The hour did go by, but it's not a conversation that can end here. It is one that we can take forth and continue because there is still a lot to say from your end. And as the courts make decisions, etc., we'll want to carry this on and have more conversations. Mark as well, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate both of you. I've got a feeling we might need to do this again closer to the time. The interest in this, just based on how many people are watching this and the comments we're getting, is huge. And I think it is our duty, our equal and common duty, to secure South Africans in everything that we do. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
There's a lot more to say, and I would appreciate the opportunity for KZNA to air their side at some stage. Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to fully ventilate our issues tonight.
I'll give you that chance again.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. I've taken over Faith's time now. Who else do we owe a conversation to me? We said to somebody else, was Safa, the Safa matter as well. So, about 20 minutes. Charles, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. We've got to get out of here. Pela. Faith is up next.
This broadcast was brought to you by Hollywood Bets. Live in the moment.
Welcome to the Urban Rhythm Revolution.
Listen,
Metro FM.
I'm the greatest of all time.
For all things urban,
I love this station.
It's where you want to be.